I said to her, I'm at a certain age in life and I am legitimately starting over. And I just kind of feel like,
Yeah.
damn, like I don't have nothing.
I want you to breathe. I want you to breathe. I want you to breathe.
Hello, friends. We're back. We're Black and Curious. I'm Candrin.
What up, what up? It is Deja. How y'all doing?
And we're back. If you've never been here before, we talk a cross section between pop culture and real life. And today we have a real life topic. We're here multiple times a week. If you like the content, definitely drop down and give us a subscribe and like this video. Deja has our topic for today.
Thank you.
Are
So
you
yeah,
having a beverage of choice?
just a tea, a little hot
Oh,
toddy, nothing special.
all right.
But yeah, so over the weekend I went to a like plant moss class situation. So I made like this aerial plant or whatever. And I
Sounds
did
great.
it with Christina, friend to the show, who is the human design coach.
Yes.
And so while we were sitting at dinner, we were having this conversation around millennials and purpose anxiety. And I wanted to kind of talk through this with you to get some of your thoughts on like, why do you think our generation of people and is so plagued with anxiety and depression typically?
Yes.
I pulled an article from Psychology Today and they were saying that our generation of the millennials is from 1981 to 1996, which I thought was interesting because sometimes I see sometimes I've seen it differently, or there are people that are claiming to be in the millennial group that don't quite fit.
Yeah, it's always like a
Them older
little.
Gen Zs.
Yeah, I feel like it's always a little shaky on either end, like where who's defining it of where it starts and where it stops. So, eh,
Mm-hmm.
sure, but we are solidly in the millennial generation, the elder
Damn.
millennial generation. We are
We
solidly
right at the top.
there.
Ah,
By all definitions, we are there. So we gonna talk about it.
thanks. So, what are your thoughts about? Oh Lord, why did I flick my head like that? What are your thoughts about the prevalence of anxiety and depression in our age group?
Okay, I'm gonna speak from an elder millennial perspective because I'm pretty sure it's different for a younger millennial. I think it's two things primarily. Um, One is that we have undergone a lot of shifts in one generation, and I think change brings anxiety for any situation. So if you just think about anything, all right, think about technology. Really, technology like really took a chokehold in our generation. So
Mm-hmm.
we were raised without excessive technology, but
Child, we was the children of the internet.
yes, but it wasn't. I feel like it was a young internet, a very young
Absolutely.
internet that wasn't like look. Early internet when we were getting on the internet, or when I'll speak for myself, when I was getting on the internet, there was no being on the internet all day.
Oh,
Okay,
absolutely not. No, you
because
are not
there was
allowed.
time limits. It was connected to the landline, like
Get off the computer.
so,
You holding up my phone call.
so you holding up the phone calls, being on the internet. So it was just different. And we have had to contend with a lot of changes around technology and all the things that brought.
Mm-hmm.
So and a lot of technology has brought new ways to make money, which we have been, you
Trying to figure.
know, trying to figure out. Some people have done it, some people have done it well, but like think about the influencer space.
Mm-hmm.
Influencer, like influencing has really happened while we're in our working years, and we're seeing all these people making a shit ton of money, making all this money influencing, and we're just like, what
Gen
is
Z and the young
happening?
millennials. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're just like, wait, we've been going to school and stuff, and then we can't make no money. But all these people are making a whole lot of money, and it's like off the internet. Like this is, you know what I'm saying? So it just feels
Mm-hmm.
like anytime you introduce a level of change to anyone's life, it brings with it some anxiety. And I think our generation has been plagued with a lot of change. And not only just that, but within terms of like world events. So I was a senior in high school at 9/11, which changed a lot in the world.
Were we seniors? I thought that was junior
I
year.
was a senior. I was a senior.
But you graduated in '02, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was junior year.
No, I was a
I'm
senior. I know for
tripping.
sure I was a senior. I can't speak for nobody else, but I was a senior because it was there were
No, you're
certain
right. I'm
markers.
tripping. I always, for some reason, I just be associating like the same year that Al Gore and Bush were running for president and Gore lost. Like they had to do like the runoff or whatever.
Oh
That was
no,
in
2000,
2001. Yeah, I
2000.
remember that, but I always put the two of them together because it was
No,
just like it just seemed like the same time period, which is why we started calling it Al Gore's internet.
right. So there was that. There was like the Great Recession. It's like every 10 years clocking.
There's
There's
been a
a
whole bunch
Great
of drama.
Recession, which it was a lot of people, you know, in the millennial generation or the elder millennials. A lot of us were finishing graduate school and graduating from graduate school with a shit ton of debt in
Child, colossal
a
debt. We got
horrible
more debt
economy,
than
right?
people before us. What'd you say?
I'm saying we were graduating from graduate school, taking on all this debt to become these people, these lawyers and doctors that are supposed to be the ones to make all the money, and we're graduating and ain't no jobs.
Hello.
And then the younger millennials, they're graduating from college into the same sort of atmosphere. And then, of course, the pandemic, which brought a whole other level of depression, and frankly, is what sent me over the edge because I was like, look, I have worked hard, I have saved my money, and I cannot even afford to buy a house because you people have come down to Miami and tore up the real estate market. So I cannot even afford to, like, I have done the work, I have made the sacrifices, I have saved the money, and like now I can't even afford to buy a house. Like that is wild. And that's supposed to be so it's almost like we're in a new world, but still using the mile markers that our parents have like given us as the things that are like the things you have to do or you should do. And
Girl,
it's
it's out here
it's a
fucking
lot.
people up.
It's just a lot. It's just a lot of this, and I'm not gonna say that's everybody, but I know that it's quite a few of us of
Hmm.
feeling just very, what the hell are we supposed to do now?
And it's interesting that the like let the Gen Xers and the people before our parents' generation, let them tell it like we're super hypersensitive and
Mm-hmm.
can't take criticism and all these things.
Entitled.
And it's like I feel more that about Gen Z than I do millennials. I think for us, it's just been a constant struggle, like one thing after another, to your point.
Yeah.
Like when hell in 2006, when folks was graduating from undergrad, shout out to Can, she graduated early, but the rest of us, the rest of us, like we out here trying to figure it out. And then 2 years later, we hit the recession.
Yeah. And
So,
I went to law school right before the recession. So I went to law school in 2007.
okay.
So I was in there when I'm watching the markets just crash and
What the
burn.
hell is going on? I remember like because the Psychology Today article, basically he was saying that like people are millennials at 25 are living at home with their parents or with their family and they're still trying to figure things out, or
Or
they're just
renting.
graduating from college. If you're doing okay for yourself, you're renting, but like hell, a lot of us were still living at home.
True. True.
Like, yeah, I lived on my own while in college, but it was like I went backwards after the fact because no money, no jobs.
Well, I rented, but I was working several jobs to sustain
Just the
it. So,
same. Yeah, but it's
yeah.
still like it just makes you feel like I think the purpose anxiety is a thing of we don't know what we're supposed to be doing. Like I was having this conversation, the way that this came up with Christina was just kind of like I said to her, I'm at a certain age in life and I am legitimately starting over. And I just kind of feel like,
Yeah.
damn, like I don't have nothing.
It's very much a like, what's it all for?
Yeah.
So that's sort of where I am, is like, okay, so I did all of this stuff. but what's it all for? I
Right.
can't get nothing. I still
No.
can't get nothing. And actually my friend and I were talking about it and talking about how people are saying that millennials are going into debt and all of this stuff. Like, we saved all this money,
Massive debt.
not paying our student loans, and now we're back in debt. And it's just like, yeah, because people are tricking off now. Like, we're not getting anything, we're not getting anywhere, we're not getting a house, like, in most of these markets. Well, at
No, you
least not for
can't.
another couple years, and then Gen Z is going to be in the market too, fighting with us. So we're not going to, it's going to be ugly for a little while. So people just spending their money, they trick it off. They don't care no more. It's like, buy the bag, sis.
I'm
Buy the
saying.
bag.
But
It's
then
not
it's
going
like,
towards a down payment on anything. So buy the bag, sis.
you ain't lying. One of the things that the article, so I keep quoting this article. Let me just tell you what the name of it is. Why are millennials so anxious and unhappy, from Psychology Today? And now I lost my place. One of the things that he pointed out, he said that in truth, decision making itself may be the number one reason why millennials are so depressed and anxious, and why they feel the need to go to psychotherapy. He goes on to say that millennial clients are for the first time facing big choices that are likely to have lifelong consequences, and that they feel profoundly uncertain about how they should make these decisions. But there are other facets of decision related anxiety as well. Some young adults may find that they have too many choices and that trying to distinguish between their options is overwhelming. Others seized by analysis paralysis, which we know, I have said several times that I am. That is like, I struggle with that shit. Have difficulty seeing why one option is better than the other, and feeling unable to make a choice at all.
But I think that goes back to what I was saying about living in these two separate worlds, because it's like, a lot of times the decision is between what you've been trained to do versus what you're seeing everyone else doing and what you're seeing other people be successful at. So,
Facts.
you know, in the tech world or whatever, versus what I may have been trained to do, which is be a lawyer or whatever, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I think that's true. And then again, because a lot of, well, I can speak for myself and say that a lot of my decisions, and actually this goes back to some conversation we were having when we were talking about thinking in beds.
Yeah.
Where I felt like I made good decisions about things and the outcome was bad, but it was out of my control. So like, I made good decisions about saving money or putting myself in a situation where I could save a lot more money. That was a good decision. I didn't have any idea a pandemic was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like, when you have those type of events that keep affecting your life, it makes you unsure, because
Mm-hmm.
you're like, okay. And even now, like, I'm still thinking about, moving forward and, maybe finding a condo or something like that. And it's like, okay, but is something else going to happen now? Like, I've saved the money, but is
Bro,
something else going to happen? Is there a recession coming? Is
because
it a
that's
bad
been
time to buy?
the
Like,
majority of our adulthood.
it's that. It's like, you're just like, I don't even know what to do, because something catastrophic could happen, probably will happen, but I don't know when, and I don't know if I'm putting myself in the best position for that. And that it's just a fear, because that is what has been happening pretty much our whole adults / young, maybe older adolescent life.
Yeah, agreed. And I know, like, years ago, probably when we were in, like undergrad, they were saying that they were projecting that millennials may have a harder time, because depending on like where you were. I know for our class group specifically, they were saying, like, right before we went off to college, 9/11 happened. There was a change in how, like, we operate in terms of like flying and traveling, and like all the things that young, college bound kids would do, like go explore and travel and see things before they go off to college. Like, all that shit was taken away from us. And I think the generation that might be similar to us is the kids that went through the pandemic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they might experience the same type of like not hardships, but like difficulties that we've had, because like you said, every so many years after the fact, there's been another huge thing.
The kids that are teenagers now, they're probably going to have like you said, some similar struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the purpose piece though is I remember years ago I was trying to, and I want to say we've had these conversations too, like in our early 20s,
Yeah, for sure.
where I was like, I had said probably at about like 24, 20, between 23 and 24, I had said, you know what, maybe I'll be a life coach.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just put an ad on Craigslist because that's what we was doing.
Yeah, you made money off Craigslist for sure.
So I never went back and did it because when I thought about it further, I was like, maybe I need to have a little more experience and then be a life coach. And now here I am.
Also, the girls don't be having experience no more. That's the other part. But go ahead.
Yeah, but no, I have education and experience. I made sure to go get both.
No, that's what I'm saying though. But like, think about that. That's a difference because the way we are, we were like, girl, I'm not saying I can do that. I can't. Ain't nobody told me I could do that. And the girls don't care no more.
Mm-mm.
They be getting online and be like, girl, I can coach you. I can make you money. I can figure it out. We gonna figure it out. And you be like,
We can do anything.
money.
Which I'm not mad at this belief system that you can do anything, that basically you can do anything that you set your mind to.
Either.
I think that shit is dope. I think that allows them, those who think this way, because I don't know that anybody in our generation does, but like, because that shit was beat out of you.
Some people do.
I mean, but if you do, like, it was against all odds that you still held this belief. A lot of us, that type of like, you can do anything was beat out of you by the time you got, like in the middle of college. It's like, you got to pick something. You can't just be here like wasting money and time. Like that was a huge, remember, I know that we talked about that. This is a huge waste of energy and time if you don't know what you're going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the purpose anxiety specifically is just because, again, we bought into grind culture and felt like we always had to be working towards something.
Yeah.
And
that's what's my issue now.
Yeah. So if and when it didn't work out, the girls had a crisis about it. I don't know that we're having any. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, yes, I think our generation is unique in some ways, especially the elder millennials. But I don't know that we're having any different crisis than other generations have previously had. There's a reason why the midlife crisis exists. It exists not everybody, but it exists for
the midlife crisis. Ain't that in your 50s? Or is that like now?
I mean, maybe there's a speed up to when we're hitting these crises.
And you're right about that.
But also, midlife is not at your 50s. Midlife is right about where we are now for most of us. We'll be honest. So
I be forgetting, like, so I was watching something on TikTok, random aside. I was watching something on TikTok and the girl was like, you look at the year and you realize that, 1983 was 40 years ago. I was like,
yeah,
like this is so, I didn't say my age before, but this is my 40th year of life.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck? I don't have issues with getting older, right? But I don't feel like I should be 40. I agree. Crazy.
It doesn't sound crazy.
But I think that goes to like our parents' age, our parents' generation of people. Like when they turned 40, they just had more established things, like more established life. And I just feel like I don't. Like I'm a little nomad. I'm not a little. I am very nomadic.
Like same. The people were married, had kids, divorced, got a new marriage, another round of kids, and was divorced again by 40. And we still sit here like, girl, we living in an apartment or a rental. How does this work? Like, so I think it's some of that's causing the purpose anxiety as well, personally. Yeah. And I think as far as, a lot of things the negative things that have been said about millennials, about being whiny and entitled, I think entitled is a loaded word because we're not saying we're entitled to anything extravagant. We just want the same life that they had at this age.
But our version of it.
Well, our version of whatever that is, like, we just want what everybody else had. How is that entitlement? Like,
shit. We tired, okay?
We tired.
Getting hustling hard. Like, I feel like and maybe this is not true, but I feel like we have worked harder in a sense that like that I don't know that hustle mentality and hustle culture was in existence for Gen X and boomers.
No. And I think there's also the issue that they didn't have the comparison piece too. I think the comparison piece has been more heightened with the internet because really and truly you wouldn't know what nobody was doing outside of your family and maybe your friends
Your
or
friend group.
whoever
But
you
yeah,
were
but
in
even still, like within
close
your friend
community.
group.
No, but I'm saying like even in your friend group or in close community, but like we have access to a whole world of people that we wouldn't have known what they were doing otherwise. And I think that's causing a bit of anxiety too. But there's this idea of like your purpose has to be your passion and your job has to be your passion and your
Girl.
purpose. And it's like, girl, maybe not. Because I know my mama did not care about that job. She went, she got her paycheck and she moved on with her day. And I think
I
there
wish I
has
knew how
been
to do that.
this pressure to like make your that whole what is the saying if you love what you do you won't work a day in your life or something like
Yeah.
that, like that has
Mhm.
been really inflicted upon us. I feel like to our detriment. I am actually getting to the point now where I'm just like I am going to go and take these people's money until I figure something else out, and if I don't, I'm gonna just keep going and take their money. The job is not hard, just go take the money, girl. Like
If I could do that, I would, but I feel like I can only stay in that for so long, which is why I end up like I have so much like experience. I've done
yeah,
a bunch of different things in the last 10 years alone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
right.
I I've let go of trying to, like find my purpose in work environments because I've started my own
I
business
don't
and
dream
I've
of labor.
figured that out. You know what I'm saying? Like
Uh,
but no, to your point, we don't dream of labor.
mhm.
But now that like so in the present experience that I'm having, like I said, I'm starting over. Um, but I don't want to do shit. And I'm like, girl, we can't do that. Like we all right now. But this ain't gonna this I mean, God willing, it'll last forever.
Yeah,
Like as it stands, this is not sustainable. Seemingly,
I think
I
we're
don't
just
know.
I think we're having a generational burnout. Um, and we're either gonna recalibrate and get it together, or we all just gonna be some sad people moving forward. That's the fact of the matter. And that I think we're gonna have a deeper conversation about our goals for the year and our goal setting and how we're gonna get there. And I think this will bleed into that a little bit too, because I
Absolutely.
have some different approaches for how I'm looking at the year.
Agree. My final thoughts would be to the point of like either you're gonna be sad moving forward. I think for me personally, a lot of my journey has been to avoid that because that's what I
Yeah,
saw growing up. So it's like I don't want to be that because then you
right.
get to be, like at the midlife that I thought was later. You get to be our parents' generation of people and just sometimes be really, like unhappy with how your life has turned out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want that for myself. I don't want to sit here and like be in a place of regret. So like, child, I feel like I got 10 years to figure this shit out.
Well,
Which
I
is a
think that's
long time.
also part of the anxiety. The purpose anxiety is the feeling like the time is running out. So,
Yeah.
which is something that I've gone through a lot of. But I'm actually reading a book. I'm really excited about it. I'll leave this as I guess my final thought. I'm reading Bevy Smith's book, and she always says it gets greater later. So I'm trying to
Oh, I need
embrace
to do
that
that.
spirit. Her book is called Revelations, and it's really fun so far. And but she made a big life change at 38. Um, so
As did, well, yeah. Yeah.
quite a
That's where
few
I
people
am.
make that life change at that age or right around that age. So
Well, that makes me feel a little bit better, friend.
we're right on time. This is what I mean by saying like I don't think that we're going through anything unique. I think it maybe it has a microscope on it because of all of the world events, and it has made us the world events have made us unsure in a way that maybe it hasn't before. But I
Mhm.
think this is we're right on time. We're right on schedule.
Touche.
Right on schedule.
Y'all drop down in the comments and you let us know A, what generation you are, and then B, what your experiences have been. Can you relate to any of the things that we said today? And then also, like, what are you looking forward to if you are in the millennial bracket of life in your next decade? If you're on my train right now, because literally I'm on my next decade. Like, anyway, thanks for following or listening or whatever. I don't know. Watching, yes. The words just were not coming together. Anyway, make sure you follow us on all of our social media and check out blackandcurious.com. We'll see you guys in the next conversation. Bye.